Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. This is Chairman Peter Villegas. Today is our December meeting, December 9th, our last meeting for the year. I hope everybody has the agenda and everybody is on the webinar. Mr. Foster, can you take roll, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm going to take roll in Commissioner Wedge,
Here.
Commissioner Hendrickson,
Here.
Commissioner Gruelle,
Here.
Commissioner Fiore,
Here.
Commissioner Dr. DeMars, Commissioner and Vice Chair Dr. Williams,
Here.
Chairman Villegas. Sir, we have 4 in person and 3 on the WebEx.
Great. Mr. Foster, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. Can you confirm the establishment of a quorum?
Yes, sir. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Again, it's good to see everybody on the webinar. I think we had a fantastic year. A lot of excitement in the boxing world and MMA world this year. And then, of course, we added bare knuckle fighting, which has been performing very well and been received very well. I think that had a lot to do with the meetings that we had before they were approved to perform in California. So I want to thank my fellow commissioners for stepping up and really making sure that bare knuckle is held accountable based on our requirements here in California. And then also thank the commissioners, especially Commissioner Gruelle, for leading our efforts to step up on our tribal activities throughout the state. Later on in Mr. Foster's presentation, we're going to acknowledge 2 incredible people that have been part of the family here at CSAC, and it was a pleasure interacting with them and watching them perform. I don't want to give too much because I'm sure Mr. Foster has a great presentation for them, but I wanted to give my own personal thanks and acknowledgement for their leadership in California and in the world of boxing and MMA. With that, let's go on the next agenda item, which is the approval of the minutes from September 9th, 2024. Do I have any motions?
Mr. Chairman, before we move forward, do you mind if I take 1 moment and add to your opening remarks? Is that
Sure.
permissible?
Yes.
I want to say 2 things. Number 1, I'm just happy that our starting quarterback is back after being on injury reserve for a bit. So it's wonderful to have you back. Great to see you. So I just wanted to start with that. And I'm sure everyone else feels the same way. So welcome back. We missed you and glad you're back in the game.
Thank you.
The second thing is that we did have a California fighter, Israel Vasquez, Mexico's 3-time junior featherweight world champion, who passed away after a battle with cancer. He was 46 years old, nicknamed El Magnifico. And he had revealed earlier in November that he had sarcoma, which is a kind of cancer. Vasquez finished with a record of 44-5, 32 knockouts, and nearly half of his fights took place here in California. That was over the course of a 15-year career. So we just want to give condolences to his wife, to his family. May he rest in peace. And I appreciate your time, but we just want to acknowledge that as well.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Appreciate that. Vasquez was a great fighter and, a great person as well. So we wish him and his family Godspeed. Okay. Do we have a review and a motion to approve the September 9th commission meeting minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
any comments from the public on the minutes? If not,
This is
Mr.
the
Foster?
moderator. Are there any public in the room? Is there someone in the room who can let me know if there are public members in the room or members of the public? Okay, I've heard there are no members of the public. We will now open up the comments for questions online. We do have a raised hand from one moment, sorry. Tom Henninger. Tom, I'm going to send you an unmute request and you'll have 3 minutes with a 30-second warning. And Tom, did you have a comment on the minutes? You're unmuted?
Realized that I was here, that's all.
I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't
we
sure.
didn't hear you.
I wasn't sure when you said that there was no member of the public that I would be a member of the public or a member.
Okay.
Not sure. Okay, that's all.
All right. Thanks very much. All right. So I do not see any requests for comment at this time. Did you want to close the public comment feature?
yes, please close the public comments. And Mr. Foster, if you can take vote.
I have a question in the minutes. On item 2,
If you could use the microphone in the room, that would help a lot.
I'm trying. Okay.
Thank you.
On item 2, the last time I had asked whether you ever got that headgear data, Mr. Foster, and whether or not you got the information from Benefit Resources. Did you ever get that?
I've got some of the headgear data.
Yeah.
I don't have the stuff from Benefit Resources.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Mr. Foster, can you take vote on the minutes from
Yes, sir.
September?
Commissioner Wedge,
Aye.
Mr. Hendrickson, Commissioner Gruelle,
Aye.
Commissioner Fiore,
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. DeMars, Commissioner and Vice Chair Dr. Williams,
Aye.
Chairman Villegas.
Abstain.
All right, the motion passes 6-0, sir.
Okay, thank you. Can we get a motion for the review and possible action to approve October 11th special commission meeting minutes?
Motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Does anyone from the public or in the room have any questions, comments?
This is the moderator. Are there any members of the public on WebEx who'd like to make a comment on the motion? You don't need to raise your hand if you're here, but do you have a comment on the motion? And we're displaying instructions on the slide. And we do not, if you are a call-in user, you can press *3 to raise your hand. Any comments on the motion to approve the other minutes, the second set of minutes? We have a request from a call-in user 2. I'm sending you a request to unmute. You can press *6 to unmute yourself. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, I was muted. I was trying to speak. Yeah, this is Greg Kaiser Pax. I just want to let you know that I'm in the room.
All right. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. You have a question about or a comment about the minutes?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
No other public comment.
okay, thank you. Mr. Foster, can you take vote?
So, Commissioner Wedge,
Aye.
Commissioner Hendrickson,
Aye.
Mr. Gruelle,
Aye.
Commissioner Fiore,
Aye.
Mr. DeMars,
Same.
Vice Chair Dr. Williams,
Aye.
Chairman Villegas.
Abstain.
It was, motion passes 5-0, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Item number 4, the review and approval of the proposed 2025 commission meeting dates. The dates that we're proposing are Monday, March 3rd, 2025, Monday, June 2nd, 2025. Monday, September 8th, 2025. And Monday, December 8th, 2025. And Mr. Foster, two of those have to be in public, correct? I mean, in person.
Well, sir, the way the law is now, they all have to be in person with like, at least 4 members. So, you can have them all, like 3 members can be remote at any of the meetings, but 4 members need to be in public at all of these meetings.
Okay. To my fellow commissioners, does any date stand out for you that you're already committed on these dates? Of course, if something comes up and we need to adjust, we have that flexibility, but in general, wanted to make sure that these dates are okay for you.
This is Commissioner Gruel. March 3rd, I will be out of town.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
Chairman Villegas,
Yeah.
it was suggested, last week I was speaking with Commissioner Wedge, and it was suggested that perhaps we do the first meeting around that UFC that's in Los Angeles coming up. I don't know if that's a possibility or if you'd consider that, but, that's out there.
Okay. Well, why don't we, if that works for the commissioners, that would be March 10th in LA. That's fine with me.
I think the date of that is January 20th, UFC. The event is the 18th, so it would be Monday, the 20th.
Of January?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's fine with me.
Mr. Chair, if I might, my thought was that when we can align commission meetings with a major either boxing or MMA event, I think we maximize the opportunity for folks within the industry to actually appear in person. I think there's value to that, but as long as the dates make sense.
Yeah, we tried to do that last time in San Francisco, and that day was a very long day. It was very tough on everybody, not just us. But I concur that if we can do it on the Monday after an event on Saturday, I think that makes sense. So why don't we change the March 3rd date to Monday, January? Is it January 10th? I'm not looking at a calendar, Andy.
January 20th, sir.
Okay. Monday, January 20th instead of March 3rd. And the other dates would be the same that we propose. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Any comments from the public or anyone in the room?
Are there any comments in the room?
No comments in the room.
Thank you. Are there any comments online? We are displaying instructions. You can click on the hand icon. You can click on the question mark icon, and our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hands. All right, we do have a question. Oops, all right. They lowered their hand. I do not see any requests for comment. Shall I close the comment feature?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Mr. Foster?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Wedge,
Aye.
Commissioner Hendrickson,
Aye.
Commissioner Gruel,
Aye.
Commissioner Fiore,
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. DeMars, Commissioner Vice Chair Dr. Williams,
Aye.
Chairman Villegas.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, sir.
Okay, thank you. Item number 6, discussion and possible action on petition to change the decision for James Porter versus Angel Ramirez bout, which was held on June 15th, 2024 in Palma Valley, California. Mr. Foster, can you give some background on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. this bout happened, and James Porter petitioned the commission for a change of decision. And I mean, my recommendations in the packet, but my thoughts were this was an incidental. I think their heads clashed. I mean, it's clear, but it was from movement that was legal. It was like an incidental thing that happened, and you know, it looked like it was all in the manner of the movement of a legal strike, where you throw an overhand, and then he went to sprawl, and the heads clashed. I mean, I believe a minor foul occurred, but I believe it was an accidental clash. And I think the recommendation, or I recommend that the decision of referee Chris Lieben stand. I've looked at it several times. We have the video for the commissioners when they're ready to see it. And you have to watch it.
Is everybody prepared to see it, or have any other questions? Did that go did that go the full round? The full rounds?
No.
Okay.
No, sir.
It was stopped. Okay. Yeah. Can you show the video?
Yes, sir.
It's really short.
Anything else, Andy, after from this point moving forward, or
Well, I mean, now the commissioners may want to watch it again. That's up to the commissioners.
I watched it so many times already.
okay? Any other commissioners need to see it again? Any questions from the commissioners?
Well, I was just going to say, I watched on my phone, then I watched it on a bigger screen, and I went through it like frame by frame and stopped it every second. And I just couldn't see it clear enough to see if there was any real deliberate contact. Like maybe there was some contact as one person was going up and the other was going down. And without being clear on it like that, I would go with the person who was actually there in the ring. So I tried every which way to see if I could see a deliberate headbutt, and I couldn't see it. And maybe in some unknown extra perspective, it was there. But since I wasn't there and the person in the ring didn't see it and I didn't see it on the video, I would go with the referee's decision.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from my fellow commissioners? Comments, questions? No? Anything else we need to know about this one, Andy?
Sir, only if we have the referee available, if you'd like to speak with him. If not, that's
Mr. Chair, I'd move the EO's recommendation.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions from the public or in the room?
Yeah, this is James Porter. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So even yes, it is an incidental clash of heads, but so a clash of heads can finish a fight. Is that what's is going on here? Because he didn't land a strike, right? He didn't land anything like a punch. He didn't land a strike. The only thing he landed was a clash of was a headbutt. I mean, it wasn't. I know it was accidental. It was incidental, but I believe it should be a no contest incidental headbutt at the end of the day, because that's not, that's not fair.
Is this public comment?
Am I wrong?
Yes, 3 minutes, right?
Mr. Porter's the petitioner here, so I would allow him to state his case in full. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, because no strike was landed, correct? It was an incidental headbutt. Therefore, it should be a no contest incidental headbutt. It's not a legal strike.
Okay, all right, Mr. Porter. Can we hear from the referee?
Sure.
Chris Lieben here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, commissioners, thank you for allowing me to speak. Yeah. So, as always, I'm trying to learn and grow as a referee, and I'm very interested to hear the decision in this. This was definitely, there was some contact of the heads. It certainly was accidental by both parties. My one thing that I would say after being there live and then reviewing the tape multiple times, it almost looks like he's dropping his head to maybe go in for a double leg. He throws an overhand with his right hand. His head drops down into the left. And James Porter's action of sprawling and bringing his chin down on the back of Angel Ramirez's head, I think, is what caused that incidental clash. Now, was that, from my standpoint, that's incidental contact that happens when you're shooting a shot in the course of a fight. And then there were multiple strikes on the ground as well. And, I wasn't Angel Ramirez, so I can't tell you if those strikes on the ground are what finished the fight or if it was the initial clash of heads caused any damage at all. It doesn't look like a heavy clash of heads, to my opinion. So, in my opinion, so hard to decide that it was that clash of heads that caused the knockout.
Am I allowed to speak? This is James Porter.
Yeah, just real quick, Mr. Porter. So our referee very concerned about the strikes when Mr. Porter was on the ground, correct?
Correct.
And that was the main reason for stopping the fight, not the headbutt?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Porter?
So, yes, I was dropping my head. His head was coming up at the same time. We both were. If you watch the replay, if you actually go back and watch the replay, his head was coming up at the same time my head was going down. Okay?
Okay.
With that being said, I was in there. I came to when I remember, so I lost consciousness for a half a second. And it was I came to when it was the grounded pound was occurring. So the damage was done from the headbutt.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Porter.
Yes.
Any questions from any of the commissioners or others from the public?
Any comment from the room?
I believe the replay should be shown again. More times. You only watch.
We have limitations on our time. I think.
Okay.
Unless the commissioners want to see it again, but I'm fine in my review.
Did I hear there was a motion made?
Yep.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Comments from the commission? From the public?
There are no comments in the room. Are there any comments online? You can look for the hand icon, click. You can look for the question mark icon and click, and our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. We've got call-in user 2. I'm going to send you a request to unmute. and you can press *6, caller user 2.
Okay,
Call-
no other questions or
No,
comments?
there is.
Okay,
There is. All right, calling user 3. Let's try you. Calling user 3, did you have a comment? I sent you a request to unmute. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Richard Falcon. I'm a representative for James Porter. I did have a question just to get some clarity. So is the decision basically that the incidental headbutt that James Porter fell to the ground for was not what was called the fight a finish? It was the strikes to him after he was out from the headbutt.
I don't think that we're going to get into that exactly. I mean, that's what Chris Lieben, the referee, called. And unless there's clear and compelling evidence to the commission, it would be my recommendation not to overturn a referee unless it's clear and compelling.
yeah, and we asked the referee why he stopped the fight, and as per his comments, that it was because of the strikes on the floor, not because of the headbutt.
Well,
Okay.
and are they
Okay.
all agreeing here that the headbutt was accidental? Because as I read the rules, it says the head may not be used as a striking instrument in any fashion. So if you run into me, even if you run into my head, I'm not using it. And it sounds like there's a general agreement that one was coming up and the other was going down and they bumped heads. That's not me, according to the rules, using my head as a striking instrument. So I think in that case, the referee made the right call.
Okay,
You guys, I was just trying to get clear understanding of that, because it looks like from the headbutt, you can obviously see James Porter's body goes limp due to that headbutt and falls. So I just was trying to get clarification. I appreciate it. Thank you, Commission, for your time on this matter.
thank you for your question. Okay, anyone
We
else?
do have one more.
Amy?
My apologies. We have one more comment. Calling user 2. Let's try again. Press *6 to unmute yourself. Calling user 2. Press *6 to unmute yourself. All right. Oh, go ahead. You're
Yes, I
unmuted.
was trying to get through. Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, I was
Go
trying to get through a long time. I was trying to get through a while ago and I couldn't get through. No one picked up.
Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead.
So, okay, I'm just checking it right now. I'll be back.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Let's go. Andy, can you call for vote?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Wedge,
Aye.
Commissioner Hendrickson,
Aye.
Commissioner Gruelle, Commissioner Fiore,
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. DeMars,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dr. Williams,
Aye.
Chairman Villegas.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the decision stands. But I want to thank you, Mr. Porter, for coming on to the call and stating your case. We appreciate your comments and hope that that we see you more in California. But I wanted to thank you for that. And the motion stands that this decision for the fight stands as was as per the referee.
That's unfortunate.
Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the review, discussion, and possible action regarding the July 26th, 2024 arbitration order and demand for purse withholdings pursuant to California Business and Professions Code 18856. Mr. Foster.
Thank you, Chairman Villegas. This was an arbitration request that we got back in February from Manager Rick Meridian, and I tried myself to settle this with the Attorney General's office present, and I was not able to settle it. So it went to full arbitration, and I recused myself and appointed Sean Wells, the Assistant Chief Athletic Inspector, who's also an attorney, to hear the case. And he worked with Deputy Attorney General Will Gardner and Deputy Attorney General, Supervising Deputy Attorney General Armando Zambrano. His decision's attached. And I ordered withholding of the purse, or essentially enforcement of the arbitration order here in California. And I requested that the New York Commission do what the manager agreement said when Mr. Barbosa went over there and fought, and they did not. New York did not withhold. So then we had the arbitration order, and I sent it to the Mohegan tribe, who was regulating on behalf of the Saudi Arabian government in Saudi Arabia, the Golden Boy fight. And they were under no obligation to uphold the California decision, but the Mohegan tribe and by reflection, the Saudis, but because they were working for the Saudis, withheld the money, and the commission is in possession of the check. And it's my recommendation that this commission give Rick Meridian his check that he's owed. We have it, but George Gallegos, the attorney for Mr. Barbosa, requested this hearing under BMP code 18856B. And so here we are.
Okay. Is Mr. Barbosa or anyone from his team on the call?
We have Sean Wells. We have Dag Armando Zambrano. If you are, oh, I do have a raised hand from calling user 6. Calling user 6, you can press *6 to unmute and let us know if you're with. Good morning. Hi, are you with the team?
I'm George Gallegos, a representative for Arnold Barbosa.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Barbosa, can you comment from your point of view, please?
Thank you. This is actually George Gallegos, the attorney for Mr. Barbosa.
Okay, George.
Sure. So I think what's important to look at is kind of each facet of what happened here and what the law requires or allows. So first off, thank you for the time and for this opportunity to be heard. This fight happened in Saudi Arabia. The California Athletic Commission has no jurisdiction over any fight in Saudi Arabia. The commission was a tribal commission, which was the Mohegan Sun, which is important because the Mohegan Sun uses its bout agreement for this fight. Hence, there's no privity for the California Athletic Commission. Now, I think what's important to look at is there was an arbitration award, and if you look at the law, the law dictates what the effect of an arbitration award is. So if you look at California Code of Civil Procedure 1287.6, so that's CCP 1287.6, it states that an arbitration award has the same force and effect as a contract between the parties. Now, what that means is if the arbitration award is a contract, it's enforceable, but there are steps that need to be taken in order to enforce it. That's provided by California Code of Civil Procedure 1285. So that's CCP 1285. So if you win an arbitration award, then either party based on CCP 1285 can go to the court, and either A, in this case, Mr. Meridian, could go to court to enforce the judgment, or B, Mr. Barbosa, which I've done, is you can file a petition to correct and modify the judgment because there are disagreements that we have with that award, which we've done. But in order for it to be collected, it needs to be a judgment. So no judge can enforce an arbitration award until there's a judgment, and proper procedures are taken to make it, to perfect the judgment, and then allow the authority for the judge to collect. So it's the same thing here. The commission can't enforce a judgment in general, but even so, it is not at that stage. So for example, if a company and an individual goes to arbitration at JAMS, the JAMS arbitrator can't call the individual's work and say, hey, hold back some of his pay to satisfy this judgment. That's not the role of the arbitrator. They're not a collection agency. They don't have that power. So what needs to happen first is that a judgment needs to be made, or a confirmation of the award needs to be made by the court, and that's according to the law. So what you have here is, in essence, just as I stated, you just have basically a contract that hasn't been enforced. So it can't be collected upon by anybody, whether it's a judge or the commission. What's happened here is that the commission has exceeded its authority in requesting the withhold and holding the funds under Business and Profession Code 18856B. And I think if the commission looks at that statute, you have to look at A, which allows the circumstances upon which the commission can act. So at this point, the California Commission has no authority, and it's not collectible by anybody. The enforcement isn't collectible, but what the commission has done under this statute, what needs to be looked at is subsection A. And what subsection A states is that the commission, the executive officer, has the power to order a promoter to withhold a purse, but it provides the circumstances upon which that can occur. And there's three. So one of them is if in his or her judgment, it appears that the contestant is not competing honestly. That's obviously not the case here. Mr. Barbosa won against a former world title. It was a good fight, a good performance, so that's clearly not applicable. The second circumstance that's allowed is if that boxer is intentionally not competing to the best of his or her ability, which again, he won the fight. Or third, if it should appear that the contestant, manager, or any seconds have violated any provisions of this act or rules and regulation adopted by the commission. So what that allows the commission to do in circumstances where a boxer misses weight, they can withhold part of the purse. That's the statute that allows that. But those are the only three situations where the California legislator has allowed the commission to withhold. None of those circumstances are met here. If there's a debt owed, there are proper procedures by which Mr. Merigian can take to enforce it and collect and garnish wages or file a lien, but that hasn't been done. I'm assuming that will be done if it's not settled, but that hasn't been done. So they're under the statute by which the commission has withheld the funds, it is not empowered to do so because none of the conditions of subsection A are met. And I think that it's important to note, just as a general matter, that the California Commission cannot act like a collection agency for parties. That's not their role. They're empowered by the legislature, which hasn't given that authority, and it is improper. Instead, what the California Commission is in charge to protect the integrity of the sport, to protect the fighters, but nowhere in that is there any power to collect. I think there's an additional problem whereby if the commission is handing over a check to Mr. Merigian or his counsel, that they're acting on behalf of Mr. Merigian, and that's a problem because the commission and the arbitrator need to be impartial, and they need to make decisions, and they can make orders, or they can enforce orders, or they can regulate, suspend licenses and so forth, but they can't act on the behalf of a party to collect a judgment. So there's no authority by which the California legislator has empowered the California Commission to act as a collection agency and be allowed to reach its arm all the way to Saudi Arabia to withhold this purse. since there's no authority to do so, those funds need to be sent back to either Golden Boy Promotions or Mr. Barboza, because the commission does not have that authority. And that's all based on the power given to it by the legislature, which I've already articulated to the commission, and it's not at a stage where it's even collectible at this point. At the present time, there is a petition to correct the award that's pending in the court, which I've provided the case number to Mr. Gardner in a previous email, and that hasn't been decided upon, but that doesn't matter at this point. At this point, the issue before the commission is, can the commission withhold based on these circumstances? And for numerous reasons that I've stated, it is unfortunately not.
Thank you. And thank you for presenting your position. Can I hear from, I think it's Mr. Gardner? Your hand up, sir.
Yes, thank you. This is William Gardner with the Attorney General's office, responding to Mr. Gallegos' comments. It's important for the commission to understand that the references to the Code of Civil Procedure that Mr. Gallegos referred to relate to the California Arbitration Act, and that is judicial arbitration. That's a completely separate process for arbitration. What we have here in the arbitration order that was effective in July of 2024 is an administrative action taken by the commission pursuant to its authority granted by the legislature under the Business and Professions Code. The California Arbitration Act is judicial arbitration, and there are complete and separate procedures for how those arbitrations, how to compel arbitrations in that scenario take place. This is arbitration that was engaged in pursuant to the Business and Professions Code and authority given by the legislature to the commission under that code section. And the decision that was issued is final and binding, and it was effective as of July 26, 2024. Now, if Mr. Gallegos believes that he wanted to challenge that administrative action, which is what it was, the proper mechanism would be to take a writ, file a writ. That is the established means for challenging administrative agency action. He did not do that. Furthermore, the contract at issue, as are all contracts entered into in California between boxers and managers, specifically states, and section C4 of those contracts, that the arbitration shall be final and binding. And it's well established there's just simply no right to appeal in binding arbitration. So in the event that Mr. Gallegos had filed a writ in Superior Court trying to challenge this administrative action, it would have been improper under the circumstances because the order is final and binding. With respect to 18856 and the withholding authority of the commission, and by extension, Mr. Foster, yes, the grounds for withholding are set forth as Mr. Gallegos explained. And one of those is if the executive officer has reason to believe that applicable statutes or regulations have been violated. Now, in this case, Mr. Barboza was ordered in a order of the arbitrator that is final and has not been stayed in any manner to pay a total of $81,750 to Mr. Meridian. It established how those payments were to be made out of 2 fights, and it further ordered Mr. Meridian to pay cost recovery related to the arbitration in the amount of $5,000. And that cost recovery was due by August 26th. That is the order of the arbitrator, and it is final and in effect. Mr. Barboza failed to make that payment and is in violation of the order. He has failed to comply with a standing valid order. That is a violation of Rule 390. Now, having ignored what was ordered in the arbitration to pay cost recovery, Mr. Foster had every indication that Mr. Barboza would again ignore what was in the order and fail to pay Mr. Meridian. And therefore, he enacted 18856 to withhold this money so that the money can be paid over per the arbitration order. And everything that has been done is within the authority of the commission, within the authority of the executive officer, and there's no question that this arbitration order, administrative decision of the commission, stands in effect and is final.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
May I respond? Yes, may I respond to Mr. Gardner's comments?
I'll give you 3 minutes. Go ahead.
So I'm not going to argue with Mr. Gardner with regarding whether the award is final or the procedures. What I think it's simply, there's two things to look at. One is their jurisdiction, and there isn't. But more importantly, according the California Commission needs the power to do it, and they used 18856, and it states if the contestant violated any provision of this act or rules or regulations, there's nothing that's been violated. If Mr. Gardner wants to say that he hasn't paid the $5,000 that was issued upon him, that can be withheld. I won't argue with that. I'll stipulate that can be withheld. But Mr. Barboza hasn't violated any act. He hasn't violated any rule or regulation, and he needs to do so to enact that, and he has not. So there's what I want to focus on is where's the authority for the California Commission pursuant to that code empowered to do so. And if he hasn't violated, there isn't any. If it was believed that he would not, there are consequences in that order or in the law that the commission can take. But you can't think, I don't know if he's going to pay it. I don't think he's going to pay it, so I can withhold it. The problem really is the precedent that will be created whereby the commission will now be asked to collect judgments. And they're going to, and I don't think that's the proper precedent for a fighter or for a manager to say, well, you did it for Mr. Meridian. Can you collect mine? I heard he's fighting in this country. And I think that's the major problem, is that you're setting a precedent of impartiality toward the party by having them forego the procedures to collect. And there's no authority for it. It clearly states that there has to be a rule or regulation violation, not a belief of non-payment or a violation of an order. So again, I don't want to go round and round with the appeal procedures. I want to focus on the authority and the plain language of the business and profession codes upon which the California Commission acted. And if you read the plain language, there are no facts that justify such withholding.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Gardner, can you respond to that point, please?
Yes, and as I was saying in my initial comments, the failure to comply with the duly issued order is a violation of Rule 390. Mr. Barboza failed to comply with the arbitration order by failing to pay cost recovery, and which was due back in August. At the time of this fight, which was in the middle of last month, those costs had not been paid, and he was still in violation of a duly issued order. That's a violation of Rule 90. So with regard to asking what specifically was violated, there's a specific example right there. Now, as far as a further kind of jurisdictional argument, there is a boxer manager contract executed in California on a California approved form and approved by the commission. The contractual relationship between these parties as boxer and manager, California Commission has jurisdiction over that regardless of where a particular fight takes place. The contractual relationship, jurisdiction over that relationship is held by the commission, and there's no question about that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gardner.
May I have 1 minute?
No,
No, we've already we've already had enough.
But-
I'm comfortable moving forward, but if
But
there's
he-
anyone else,
But he's addressed something new, right? He's addressed the 390. I think
Well-
I should be able to have
Mr.
1 minute
Mr.
to
Chair.
respond to that.
I think
Mr.
you're,
Chair,
yeah.
this is Attorney Swenson, the General Counsel for the Commission. It's
ahead,
within
Ken.
the chair's discretion to limit oral argument. And there's been a considerable amount of argument. I do have a question for Mr. Gardner, and that is, did you receive a written memorandum of points and authorities from Mr. Gallegos concerning the issues he's raised today?
I've not. I've received emails, communications, but there's been no brief that I'm aware of filed.
And the record should reflect that the agenda materials do not include a written memorandum of points and authorities from the petitioner in this case. So, Mr. Chair, it's within your discretion to limit oral argument. And if you feel there's been sufficient opportunity for the parties to be heard, you can ask for a motion at this point in time.
Yeah, I have enough information. Commissioner Gruelle?
I was just prepared to make a motion to accept Executive Officer Foster's recommendation.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
if you might entertain
Hold on,
some questions.
Scott, yeah, Scott.
I'd like to ask Ken, our counsel, in the history of the commission, how many arbitration awards has the commission overseen the collection of? Is this the first time? Have we done it many times?
There have literally been hundreds of arbitration decisions.
So this isn't a precedent in any way, shape, or form.
The decision here would not establish precedent in the sense it would be binding on the commission or could be relied upon by parties in future disputes. An administrative decision of this sort cannot be used as precedent unless it's deemed precedential pursuant to the California Administrative Procedures Act. That would be a separate issue. So a decision in an arbitration award or on a petition relating to an arbitration is not precedential in future proceedings unless deemed so by motion or resolution.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the public?
We do have a raised hand. This is the moderator. We're accepting public comment. There is no public comment in the room. We have a raised hand from someone logged into WebEx as Gregory M. Smith. Gregory, I sent you a request to unmute your mic. Go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be heard. My name is Gregory Smith. I'm counsel for Mr. Meridian, the real party at interest here. You've heard lots from Mr. Gallegos and Mr. Gardner. I won't repeat what you've already been told, although I will add one observation in that Mr. Gallegos made the argument that this is somehow a step that's being taken ahead of a breach of the order, or that it's we don't know if he will pay. I will remind everyone that the arbitrator's order required payment within 72 hours of the bout to be made pursuant to that arbitration award. There was no payment made within 72 hours. Therefore, there is no question as to, or speculation as to would Mr. Barbosa comply with the order. It is clear that Mr. Barbosa did not comply, not just in the manner that Mr. Gardner pointed out, which is to pay the award to the commission itself, which I'll point out that Mr. Meridian did. He was also obligated to reimburse the commission $5,000 of expenses and timely submitted his check. But here it was clear that Mr. Barbosa did not pay Mr. Meridian within 72 hours of the bout. Thus, he was in violation and breach of the order. Thank you for the opportunity to be heard. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Anyone else? Ms. Fisher?
Nope, no other public comment.
Okay, Mr. Foster, can you call for vote?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Wedge?
Aye.
Mr. Hendrickson? Commissioner Gruelle?
Aye.
Commissioner Fiore? Commissioner Dr. DeMars?
Aye.
Commissioner Vice Chair Dr. Williams?
Aye.
Chairman Villegas.
Aye.
Motion passes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. And thanks for everybody that had comments and presented their case. We appreciate your participation. Next on the agenda is item number 8, a discussion and possible action to approve the commission's 2025 rulemaking calendar. Mr. Foster?
Mr. Chairman, this is just mainly a housekeeping issue. This is the recommended rulemaking calendar from Consumer Affairs. And I'm just simply seeking a vote of the commission.
We need to vote on this?
Yes, sir, I believe that you do.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the commission's 2025 rulemaking calendar.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Who was that? They were both.
Commissioner Fiore.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the public or the meeting room?
We have no comments in the room. The instructions are on the screen. If anyone would like to raise their hand or hit the question mark icon, type comment. Any comments on the motion on rulemaking calendar? I do not see any requests. Shall I close that?
Yes, please. Mr. Foster? Mr. Foster, can you take vote?
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Wedge?
Aye.
Mr. Hendrickson?
Aye.
Commissioner Gruelle?
Aye.
Commissioner Fiore?
Aye.
Mr. Dr. DeMars?
Aye.
Vice Chair Dr. Williams?
Aye.
Chairman Villegas?
Aye.
Motion passes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Item number 9, discussion and possible action on the appointment of the members to the Advisory Committee on Medical and Safety Standards. Mr.
Mr.
Foster?
Chairman, it's time again for the commission to reappoint the Medical Advisory Committee members. My recommendation to the commissioners is for everyone to remain the same, with Dr. Wallace remaining the chair, Dr. Allende, Dr. Rand, Dr. Schleimer, Dr. Ruelas. But Dr. Eswick has since retired. And so Dr. Gary Furness has expressed interest. He expressed interest the last several cycles. But there's a spot for him now. And he's a ringside physician from Santa Rosa, if the commissioners would like to appoint him as well.
Great. Okay, any questions from my fellow commissioners?
Is that appointment a recommendation of yours, Andy?
Yes, sir. He's interested to do it.
And you're recommending it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can I call for a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Any comments from the public?
No comments in the room. Any comments online on the appointment to the Medical Advisory Committee? You can raise your hand. You can press *3 to raise your hand, or you can hit the question mark icon. I do not see comments. Shall I close that?
Please, thank you. Mr. Foster, can you take vote?
Commissioner Wedge?
Aye.
Mr. Hendrickson?
Aye.
Mr. Gruelle?
Aye.
Commissioner Fiore?
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. DeMars?
Aye.
Vice Chair Dr. Williams?
Aye.
Chairman Villegas?
Aye.
Motion passes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Item number 10, discussion and possible action on purchasing malpractice insurance coverage for California ringside physicians. Mr. Foster?
Mr. Chairman, this is a supplemental coverage. And what my view on this is somewhat changed since the agenda was written based on new developments. And my ask on this one, sir, is for the commission to direct myself and staff to look into the best possible use of this and see if this is something that we need to have. And I can get back with you at the next meeting. I don't think it would be a bad thing for the for the doctors to have, but I need to, I want to look into it a little bit further. Our newly appointed legal counsel that will be replacing Ken, Mr. John Ken, and I were speaking about it. He had actually called and talked to the folks about it, and it's a supplemental plan that's on top of what's already provided. And with the application of Business Professions Code 18735, the immunity statute, I would like to look into this a bit further.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Foster. Dr. Williams, any comments from you since you're in that profession?
Yeah, my only comment is that I think we need to continue to make sure that our ringside physicians are protected and that they feel comfortable and confident. And I think that Mr. Foster has had that as the absolute priority. And so to the extent that this is necessary to do that, yeah, I think that's something that would be looked into. But if not necessary, or, you know, there's some adjustment or some alternative application, then we should do that. But I think that the spirit of the initial request was to make sure that the physicians are covered and comfortable with that coverage.
Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Foster, DeLay, you're going to do some more background and gather some more intel and come back to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next item is our executive officer's report. Mr. Foster?
Sir, we're gonna, when you feel it's proper, I'm gonna start with the recognition of Jack Reese for his contributions to professional boxing. And if it's okay with you, sir, I'll just I'll give you my thoughts and my opinions on Jack Reese.
Please proceed. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I was first appointed back in 2012, on my second day on the job, I asked Chairman Frierson who the best referee in California was. I asked him that, and he said without hesitation, he says it's Jack Reese. And I knew none of the referees in California. And from that day forward, I always paid close attention to Jack Reese, and I noticed I would get all these sanction organization memos from all the title fights we were getting, and Jack Reese was on the top of all of them. And it was just it was to the point to where the promotions, when you'd have various things, they'd be fighting over Jack Reese. They'd be like, "We want Jack," or "We've already requested him," and this, and when we had multiple title fights in an evening, because the one title fight per fight policy, Jack could only do one. So I know I would be making some of the others angry or whatever. And that was always a fight. And at one point during my service with the commission for about 3 years, probably from about 2017 to 2020, this is my professional opinion, Jack Reese was considered by many, if not most, to be the most elite referee in the world. Not just the country, but the world. And Jack Reese's contributions to boxing safety has been considerable, and it's sort of something that the public and the commissioners could clearly see. He popularized the gait test that was widely criticized and widely praised during the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury 1 in round 12. That was already being used, but that's when it really got out in the public. And his service on the ABC Boxing Rules Committee standardized many procedures that are done here in California and brought them across the entire world. And my relationship with Jack, while we're not friends, I've never been to his house. He's never been to my house, nothing like that. We've spent so much time together on the phone talking about fights that I've learned a whole lot of stuff from Jack. And there's always, in any kind of card, there's always a bout or two that you're going to have a little bit concerns with or reasons why. So I would call Jack up many times and say, "Listen, I got a problem with this one. Can you do this one?" And we'd walk through it. And sometimes Jack could say, I'm not comfortable with that. Then I would go back and say, we're not gonna do that bout. So I'm a better executive officer from learning from Jack Reese. Jack Reese has been an amazing asset to the commission. I think also his training is he was a firefighter captain, but he was like a paramedic first, like for the fire. And I think his ability to see damage and be able to, he was a fighter before that, his ability to take damage and see damage and really have the best interest of the athlete in mind has just been, it's been so impressive. His knowledge of boxing is the best of anybody I've ever saw. And now he started the class. He's given back. There's been several of the people in CSAC now go to his class and teach. And I'll tell you, when he called me and told me he's retiring, it shocked me. I was totally surprised. He just did, as you know, Terrence Crawford and Madrimov, he just did that fight. He was about to do, I had him in the thing for Alexis Rocha for this coming weekend. And he called me up about a month or 6 weeks ago and says he's retiring from refereeing. And it was just a total shock. Jack's served the commission incredibly well. But he's still going to be judging for us. So we'll see him around. But this is a real monumental time, like for the commission to actually see a changing of the guard, and without the commission kind of putting it in place. Jack retired at the top. Those are my comments, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Foster. Let me also just comment on what a pleasure and privilege it was to watch Jack perform. I don't think any other sport has the responsibilities as a referee or umpire as those in boxing, and the professionalism and the energy that Jack presented was very, very impressive. And I don't know a lot of Hall of Famers, but it's nice to have Jack, a Hall of Famer, in my phone, because growing up watching boxing, I also paid attention to the referees. And as you mentioned, Jack has always been one of the best. So I'm glad he went out on top, and congratulations. Is Jack on the phone? Or is he here? Is he in Sacramento?
He's in Sacramento, sir. He's here in person.
Well, let's get his beautiful face on the screen. Any other comments to recognizing the wonderful career of Mr. Reese?
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm just happy to hear he's going to stick around and mentor and teach the next generation, and I hope somebody's going to hold him to that.
And also, you're still going to be in the game as a judge, Jack?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, congratulations, sir. Would love to hear some of your comments.
All right. It's thank you very much, Commissioner Villegas. I appreciate it. It's hard to sum up 26 years, but I'm going to try. So thank you for this humbling recognition. I appreciate so much. I can't tell you. Boxing refereeing has, it's not been just a job, ever just a job for me. It's been a privilege and a calling. In 26 years, I got to stand in the center of the ring with warriors, with guys that I wish I could be like, and do stuff that thousands of people would want to take my place. And I really appreciate those moments. Athletes especially, fighters especially, and officials stay in this sport way too long. They leave a shell of themselves when they go, and that's not something I want for myself. So I'm choosing to redirect my efforts back into judging for the state of California. And again, I'm not retiring. I'm just stepping down from the ring because I think it's a good time to do it. I don't know if Andy spoke to you guys about this. I've judged over 500 fights already, world championship fights, and now I'm going to direct my energy to doing that with the same commitment and the same drive to evolve in that as I did as in refereeing. I'm very serious about judging, I guess you could tell. Also, now that we got bare knuckle, I'm looking forward to doing that as well. Also, Andy and Mark and I have spoken. I'd really like the opportunity to do more of, if it's necessary, instant replay official. I think I have proficiency and skills and experience to bring to that position to enhance this commission's position when controversial situations come up in the ring. And at your will, I'd love to do that as well. It's a necessary and beneficial position. There's a wonderful quote that says, "Great moments come from great opportunities." And I don't live in a vacuum. I know I didn't create all these moments for myself. There's a lot of people along the way that I have to thank for allowing me the opportunity to do this. I want to start out by thanking Mr. Foster. You came in 2012 in the end in December. So since Andy's been here, I've refereed over 700, it wasn't 6, over 700 professional fights under his reign. And before he got here, I was doing world championship fights, but I was never put in the main mix of doing the high level fights on a regular basis. And Andy came in and that changed. And I cannot thank you enough for your trust and allowing me to do that. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. Excuse me. And I got great memories with everybody. I got a million memories with Andy. Best memory I got with Andy is I'll never forget his face. In 2013, we were doing the Ward Rodriguez fight, and it was a really ugly, nasty fight. And I had to break them up physically, and I wrestled them off. And in the interim, I got hit in the face pretty good for an old guy anyway. And I got it all straightened out. I walked over to Andy to tell him what was going on. And more than getting punched in the face, I'll never forget the look on your face looking at me at that moment, like, what are you going to do with this one? So I'll always remember that. And regarding memories and people in this commission, I have to thank Mark Relier and Trish Blackstock for what they do, not only ringside, but for what they do behind the scenes to make my job as easy as possible for when we get to the ring. And then in the middle of all the chaos ringside, when I need something, they're right there for it. In the past, supporting Mr. Foster, I want to go through some names of prior commissioners that were extremely helpful to me, and that was Commissioner John Frierson, Commissioner Martha Shen Urquidez, Commissioner John Carvelli, and another one, not a commissioner, but one of my best friends and one of the most brilliant minds in combative sports I've ever met. I want to thank Big John McCarthy for his wisdom and for the opportunities he's directed me towards. As far as currently being supported, I have to thank this commission greatly. Many of you, if not all of you, have been in the dressing room with me and at the fights, and I want to thank you for coming. Most importantly, or not most importantly, but I did want to say Commissioner Villegas, Commissioner Gruelle, and Commissioner DeMars. I cannot believe how many fights you have all come to and how many times you've been in the dressing room with me while I've been giving my pre-fight. I think you could probably recite them right now. You've heard them so many times, the three of you. So thank you. There's some older great referees that I have to thank for giving me a strong foundation. Marty Denkin, Dick Young, Lou Filippo, James Jenkin, Pat Russell, of course, and some others. I want to tell you that, Andy mentioned that I come from the LA Fire Department. I want to say that I'm really proud that I've been part of boxing and helped it evolve. I was part of that evolution, and I get the things I bring with me from the LA Fire Department. I was taught 3 things. First thing is help each other, make each other better. We're all a team. Second thing was leave every assignment you ever go to, leave it better than when you got there. And the third thing was I've learned from home with my mom, but also on the fire department, using my candle to light somebody else's candle doesn't diminish my candle. So I've always been trying to be the guy that, helps others and stuff. And I think it comes back to you somewhere or another in life. So anyway, thank you. About the class that you were talking about that we started called Soul Arbiter. We're helping referees get to the next level. Could not do it alone. I surround myself with really smart people, smarter than me. And I just want to acknowledge a few. Today's top referee in the world, I want to mention Tom Taylor, been a good friend, great friend, and a great help. Another great referee, top of his game from Vegas at the time, Russell Mora, a great referee that's behind me here now and a good friend, Ed Calantis, a buddy of mine and that's worn every hat in the commission back in Virginia and Washington and Maryland, Mark DiTilio, and officials here in California, Pam Hayashida, Jeremy King, David Sullivan, Ray Armendariz, Dave Braslau, Rudy Barragan, and David Hartman. Thank you for making the chaos of that 3-day course better on that third day for me in the ring setting. I want to give a shout out to Matt Delaglio, the chairman of the New York State, executive officer of the New York State Athletic Commission, Andy's role, but also he's the chairman of the Rules Committee. And we put together a great boxing referees manual this year. Also, Oded Carmi, the Massachusetts commissioner, who again never stops asking questions about why we doing it this way, and he challenges us to do things the best we can. I want to shout out to Jerry Cooney and Randy Gordon. They have me on their radio show on a regular basis to talk about boxing and educate the public. This will surprise you, but one of my close friends, Ray Corona, I got to thank Ray, and I want to tell him I'm so proud of him. He started a podcast. It's called The Third Man in the Ring. He's had wonderful guests, wonderful talks, and he's really educated the public on boxing and made boxing better. And Sergio Mora, Akim Barak from DAZN have me on their show. Anytime there's a controversial situation with a knockdown or a low blow, I want to thank them as well. And I'll get through the rest of this fast. The California State Athletic Commission, the people that you guys have put together to work, there are people that go out of their way to make sure we can get our job done easier. And they give it all. They go the extra yard. And I want to thank Ernie Martinez, Jesus Chuy Villarreal, Brian Morris, Sean Wells, Talisa Parker, Angel Veritaran, and of course, our second mother, Rebecca Relier, for looking after us at the events with everything she does. We have the greatest time. I know this because I go all over the world. We have the greatest timekeepers in the world. Mike North was absolutely the best timekeeper I've ever worked with. Lorona Ganaway, a very close second. And Tiffany Clinton, before she became a judge, was an outstanding timekeeper. And we've been through wars together where they've watched my back and helped out. And we definitely, no question about it, are led by the best ringside physician in the world. That is Dr. Paul Wallace. And we have just outstanding ringside physicians, Dr. Robert Ruelas, Tariq Khan, Tony Hicks, Kelly Tucker, and even Adi Ayub in the old days. We are together with Andy's help going over all the fighters with us, knowing the BSI, knowing the history of the fighter. We have saved so many lives that I don't even make you understand. We don't get credit we don't want the credit, but you cannot understand how many fighters we pull out of fights because of the history, not on just what's happening in front of us. So it's a great team. Finally, I'd like to thank my wife of 42 years, excuse me. My sons, Joseph and Riley, for their support, for putting up with me not being home. And, sorry.
That's all right, Jack.
Thanks, Commissioner Villegas. I've traveled all over the world and I've missed family events and family gatherings, and they put up with it because they know my love for the sport. So thank you, Josephine and the boys. Last but not least, I've been asked, what are you going to miss most? And this might upset him a little bit. He'll know what I mean by it. I never mixed with the crowd on the co-main events when I was doing the main. I never sat out there and chatted with people. I don't want to be distracted. I always stayed in the back room, kept my thoughts together, got prepared for the fights. And when I would hear the ruckus in the dressing rooms of the fighters getting up to come out, see the cameramen running with the cameras and the lights turning on, what I'm going to miss, that's when I would start going to the ring. And what I'm going to miss most, and I already miss it, is that 100-yard walk to the ring. When that arena is either dead silent or just erupting because there's mariachi music playing or something going on, and taking that 100-yard walk, I could feel the adrenaline in my fingers because I knew the gravity, what I was about to do. And I can't thank you guys all enough for the opportunities you gave me over the years. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jack, and congratulations
Thank you.
on a wonderful career. And I'm glad your family's going to get you back.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
do we have additional comments? Do you mind?
yeah. Go ahead.
Jack, congratulations on a well-deserved retirement, and thank you for all the kindness that you've shown me at the matches that I've been to, and for your service to California. I hope that you might be willing to make another trip to Sacramento. When I was going over the agenda this past week, I talked to a couple legislators that are big supporters of the commission and of the industry, and I think that they would like to have you come to the Capitol and receive a resolution and come on one of the Assembly or Senate floors. If we could drag you back to Sacramento, I hope you could make that happen.
I don't think that'll be a challenge at all. I'd be honored. I'd be honored. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Mr. Foster?
Sir, we just have the certificate and we have a plaque for Jack.
Okay. Thank you. Congratulations again, Jack. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, and it's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's nice to be back.
Jack, we get a photo with you.
Sir, congratulations.
I'm gonna come around.
Good looking bunch there.
Thank you guys all very much. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks again, Jack. Mr. Foster?
Sir, it's rare that we have two of these retirements on the same agenda, but we do. Our legal counsel, a longtime legal counsel, Ken Swenson, is retiring. And with your permission, sir, I wrote a few comments just to give some background on Ken Swenson. I remember when I got the call from Ryan Marcroft that our legal counsel was going to be changing and Ken Swenson's going to be appointed. I didn't know Ken at the time, which was kind of rare. I knew a lot of the DCA attorneys. But from that day and almost every working day and on many Sundays and pretty much every Saturday, because that's when the fights are happening, I was on the phone with Ken about something or another. And a variety of issues. Recently, Ken and I were on a call way up into the night with Dr. Williams, working on a major events medical issues. And then we went to bed and we were back on the same call the next morning. And we worked through it and we got it, and it was $1 million fight. So it was like a big fight, but we worked through it. But I remember another thing I remember from Ken is we had an issue with the Tyson Jones exhibition. I want to make clear it was an exhibition here in California. And it was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and we were on a Zoom with a lot of Hollywood executives. And we had worked through that issue together, and Ken's assisted the commission with regulations, with lawsuits, with legislation, with disgruntled officials, with boxing appeals. And he served as the legal liaison to the Department of Consumer Affairs. And it's my opinion that he has done an excellent job for this commission, and I appreciate him so much. I wish him the best on his retirement. It's just been absolutely fantastic to work with, been incredibly accessible when I needed you, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, congratulations, Ken. And let me add the importance that he provided and the wonderful advisements he provided to us and to me personally as we address so many issues that we needed some legal counsel. And I'm glad that he finished his career on his terms. I think that's what we all strive to do, but I just want to congratulate him on a wonderful career. Thank you very much, Ken. Go ahead, Andy.
Yes, sir. We have a certificate for Ken, if he would like to make any comments.
I'd like to make a few brief comments if I may. First of all, it's been a real honor to work with the most outstanding commission in the world. The support of the commissioners, the officers, the executive officer, is really made this part of my professional journey very rewarding, and it's meant a lot to me. Having my own background in amateur wrestling, I know what it's like, and it's gotten to the point where I'm pleased that I'm going to be able to hand things over to John Ken, who I think is going to be an outstanding general counsel. In the parlance of our sport, I've sustained some damage along the way, and so I need to move on to the next phase. But one thing I'd like to really comment on is that this commission is blessed to have who I think is the greatest executive officer of all the executive officers for all the boxing commissions in the world. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So I look forward to seeing you in the future in another context, maybe seeing you at some events. I want to thank you for all the support that I've enjoyed during my time serving as general counsel for the commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ken. Any other comments from commissioners?
Well, now I think it's Ken's opportunity to just come and sit and relax and enjoy the fights, right?
Now you can enjoy life, Ken. But we're proud of you. You know, you provided so much important counsel. I think that's one of the key characteristics which separates us from the other commissions, and an important part of the team for sure. So congratulations, Ken. Andy, do you have anything for Ken?
We have a certificate for Ken now, sir, and I know that Commissioner Wetch is working on something also at a future meeting for Ken.
Thank you. Andy, floor is yours still. Or are you going to take a picture?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'll just move into my budget report.
Sure.
Okay, sir, the commission's deposited 880,000 as of the writing of this. We've actually got a little bit more now, but the support fund, 37,000 to the neurological fund, and 37,000 to the boxer's pension fund, and $20,632 to the MMA retirement benefit. I would point out we're maybe just slightly below where I'd like to be at this time of the year, but we've had a few additional revenue streams come in, and I feel very confident with the first couple of months schedule that we'll be back on track to at least at that time of the year. So we're just a little bit behind where we need to be. I would guess about $25,000 behind, but it'll be made up. I feel pretty confident in the first quarter because December is typically pretty slow. The Raymond James investment account has $4.7 million in the account. And now, sir, if there's any questions on that, or I'll move to the specialty license plate.
Any questions regarding budget from our fellow commissioners? Okay, go ahead, Andy.
Okay, Patricia Blackstock, the Assistant Executive Officer, and I had a meeting with Public Affairs. That's Monica Vargas runs that division in DCA, and been working with them on the marketing materials. They're not for public consumption, but they're in your meeting packets, and you can take a look at that. And those are drafts. And we are very much making a lot of progress on this particular plate. And I feel I feel really confident that by the January meeting, we'll be able to submit an application to DMV. We'd like to have it all done and get it well planned out before we launch this, but it's looking really good. I think you guys would agree that what you see in your packet's pretty impressive. And this is largely to the efforts of the Department of Consumer Affairs, different divisions that are helping us with this. They're being very, very helpful.
Andy, are we going to be able to promote the license plate at any of the events?
Yes, sir. Once we get approval from DMV to sell the plate, we will be able to do that, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And then, sir, we have our status updates from the delegated entities. JT Steele from Camo is at the beginning.
Okay.
And JT, you are now able to unmute yourself.
Right. Can you hear me? There we go. Great to see everybody. I wanted to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I can't believe that 2024 is already wrapping up. I wanted to echo Commissioner Williams' sentiments. Chairman Villegas, that's really good to have you back. I'm glad to see that you're well. Much to be grateful for this year. And I agree with you. It's been a wonderful year. 2024 has been a great year. And I think maybe to preface some of my remarks, I want to just congratulate Jack Reese on his retirement. It's amazing to see somebody go out on top. You know, one thing that some people might not know is that 15 years ago, when amateur MMA was becoming realized here in California, Jack Reese was a big part of that. And when officials were being trained, the very first amateur officials, Jack Reese was right there. And he offered a lot of leadership and a lot of mentorship, and we appreciate him. And yeah, you know, I had the opportunity to work with him many times over the years, and it was always a labor of love for him to be able to help out and to pick other people up. And I think he lives by that mantra that he mentioned about his candle lighting others, and he was always willing to do that, and we appreciate him. And also congratulations to Ken Swenson. He's been a loyal and dedicated counsel to this commission, protecting us and giving us sound counsel for many years. You know, it's almost, my heart's almost a little bit heavy as we see some people moving on today, but such is our sport. And it's, I know that these two gentlemen left our sport in a better place than they found it. So grateful for them. Just a quick recap. 2024 is kind of a landmark year for Camo and for our relationship with the California State Athletic Commission, because as you may or may not know, it was in 2009, so 15 years ago in November, this commission entrusted Camo to be their development program for amateur MMA. Since that time, we've overseen thousands and thousands of bouts and events, and we're grateful for that ongoing relationship. But 15 years is a lot of time working with this commission, and we're grateful for your trust and for your support always. We have a dynamic and exciting amateur program here in California that's extremely robust. And just to give you a couple of highlights of our year, is that we licensed over 1,200 athletes here in the state of California. We had 81 live events to finish off the year, which is fantastic. We see a trend that's kind of been common over the last few years. And there's been years where we've done more events than 81, but what we're seeing is we're seeing kind of a consolidation that seems to be a bit of a trend where 81 events is also 81 larger events. That what we're seeing is that a lot of our promoters, and I think you actually got a few new good professional promoters that kind of graduated from Camo into CSAC and started doing pro shows this year, which is always great because we are a developmental program, not only for fighters, but also for promoters and especially for officials. And we never lose track of that. That's always, apart from health and safety, our mission is to develop. And so we've cultivated many great promoters through the program, but we're seeing larger events where if you go back 15 years or even 10 years, maybe the average number of fights that would be on a given event might be somewhere between 7 and 10 bouts. Currently, it's common to see 15 to 17 bouts on an event. And I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of the promoters are more seasoned. They're capable of running a good, clean, large event, which is great. But I think it also helps to offset some of the rising costs that we've all seen through inflation and throughout the world, is that having a larger event makes it a little bit more possible sometimes to be able to have a good event with the type of accommodations that we'd like to see for our athletes. So it means each individual event is probably a little bit more work than it used to be and a little bit more of a time commitment. And that's okay. And that's the trend that we're starting to see. We had many great trainings throughout the year. I just wanted to especially thank Mark Relier, Sean Wells, and Andy Foster for incorporating Camo into their trainings. It's been great to train with them side by side. We do a tremendous amount of training and shadowing in the field with CSAC, but being involved in your trainings is a great supplement to ours. We look forward to some of those in 2025 as well. I think that they've been very successful. I think you'd probably agree with that. And a couple other things that we're working on, moving into some digital licenses instead of paper licenses, I think is kind of the way of the future. We should be able to roll that out pretty soon. But if any of the commissioners have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer for you. I just wanted to express my gratitude to the commission and for your confidence in working with the Camo program.
Thank you, JT, and congratulations on all your efforts and your leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, USA Boxing is next.
Okay.
This is the moderator. Is there someone we were expecting online from them?
Andy?
Sir, I anticipated them being here, but apparently they're not here. But their memo is in the packet. So if the commissioners have any questions, they can email me and I'll get it to them.
Okay.
United States Fight League, Joe Stevenson. I know he's on. He'll be next.
Yes, and Joe, you can unmute yourself and you can turn your camera on if you choose to.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I've learned so much this year. Just from being a fighter and then learning how much goes into all of this, from the referees to the judges to the commissioners. I want to say thank you, actually. This has been one of the biggest learning years of my career. I have the report here for everyone. Just some events from the last CSAC meeting. We have Hendo's Future Champions in Temecula, California. We had 22 bouts, 2 injuries. Left them. One of the kids posted, and they were cleared, and the other one was an elbow, belly down armbar. They were cleared. King of the Cage finally had some youth bouts, which was very exciting because that hit a bunch of new gyms that got a lot of these kids and coaches excited about doing it. And we handle ourselves a little bit different and try to be as professional as possible. And it was me having my first pro fight in that show. It was kind of a little surreal. We had 8 bouts, no injuries. Hendo's future champions again had 11 bouts, 1 injury due to a leg kick, but it was just a contusion, and she was cleared by a doctor the next day. Upcoming events, we have another one at Dan Henderson's in February, the 8th in Temecula, and then our national championships for the U.S. team selection will be the last weekend of April, once again in Temecula. Nothing, working on trying to get some of these kids just to do everything for the right reasons, and focusing on our youth development and at-risk kids for this next year is our major goals. We have some very interesting people coming on board to help us set up programs to where we're going to be able to reach the kids that are at risk and need martial arts in their life the most to help navigate them properly. Other than that, I have no other comments. And once again, I'd like to say thank you to everyone actually, for as much as I did not think I was going to be learning when I took over this position so much that I can use not only in my coaching life, but in my regular life. So thank you, everyone.
Mr. Chairman, Tony Fossum from the IKF is here in person in Sacramento, and she'll be making her comments next.
Good morning, everyone. Wanted to start off again as echoing sentiments of everybody else to welcome Chairman Villegas back. I'm so happy to hear that you are well, and congratulating Mr. Reese and of course, Mr. Swanson. So since our last report was turned in at the last meeting, we have had 3 more events. Those events were all successful. We had one in Sacramento, one in Fresno, and one in Anaheim. And as a matter of fact, the one that was held in Sacramento was literally just right down the road from here. And they had a sold out crowd of over 1,400 people for an amateur Muay Thai event, which is really incredible. The Muay Thai scene here in Northern California is growing exponentially. We have some amazing promoters up here, and the sport is just really catching fire. So probably at the next meeting, I'll let you know the schedule of when this promoter is having another event here locally. Hopefully some of you can come and witness the excitement that's happening around the sport up here. Our next officials training will be held in Northern California in January. Our priority is to keep our officials at the forefront of the evolution of our sport in order to offer the highest level of protection and safety for our fighters. We are also doing that by actively participating in the ABC Muay Thai Committee, which helps to set the rules nationally across the United States. The IKF continues to collaborate with BoxRec on our IKF Fight platform to expand the reach of our database to make it easier for not only the California Commission, but commissions across the country to keep track of our amateur fighters, their records, and their suspensions, whether those be medical or disciplinary. That also helps all of the other organizations to keep track so that we're not having suspended fighters going and fighting in other organizations. Again, helping to keep them safe. This past year, we have sanctioned 38 shows, and we have registered over 600 new amateur fighters in Muay Thai. So we feel like we've had a very successful year. We now have a couple of weeks off to enjoy the holidays, and then we will be ready to get back to work in January. So I would just like to wish the commission all wonderful holidays with your families, and looking forward to getting back to work with you in January. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Tom Henninger with the World Association of Kickboxing Organization is next, sir.
And Tom, you're free to unmute yourself as you choose, and you're welcome to turn your video on if you'd like.
Well, good morning, everybody. Always a pleasure for me to attend this meeting in particular. As many of you know, I'm part of an international organization, and so I not only get the athletic commissions from all over the country, from each state, but also from all over the world every time we go somewhere to put on a major event. And from that perspective, I can tell you how you're doing. You already know, but I'm listening to your retirees recount the training, the atmosphere, the professionalism that occurs here, and I can tell you, really, from an international perspective, how true that is. I don't know if you're aware that not every athletic commission meeting is like this. I've gone to meetings that are 2.5 minutes in length, and not downing anybody, but the professionalism here is really the best in the world that I've experienced, and I appreciate that. Dealing with an international organization sometimes brings its challenges because of the rule set that we need. And if I could again thank Patricia Blackstock, who has just been integral in making these things work so that we can stick with the California regulations that we absolutely have to do and still make it work for our international rule set. This is going to become very important because on the 14th, in just 5 days, we're going to come to California at the behest of the International Olympic Committee to put on USA versus Europe. We're doing that because in the LA 28 games, we are going to be putting on kickboxing in the games. It's not going to be part of the entire Olympic program yet, but they wanted us to put on some fights, and they wanted to see again exactly how we run. They were at our World Championships in Hungary, but they wanted to see us in California so that they know what to expect for 2028. And so I had some questions. Patricia got back to me immediately, and we worked through a couple of things, and we expect a really good event coming on the 14th. We have been really ramping up in California. The officials are growing innumerably. That's mostly due to Dan Stell. He is, I believe you know Dan. He's a great experienced official. I made him my first instructor of officials anywhere in the country, and he's been doing very well in creating some really high level officials in California for us. So you will see them in action on the 14th. I hope as many members of the commission as possible can make it to that event. It should be pretty interesting there with the IOC and our World Federation in attendance. Our number of events is growing in California as people become more familiar with us. We put on 4 events in the last 3 months. I believe a report is submitted there that has all of the injuries and all of the results of those. One to note is we did have a fighter who has been permanently suspended pending clearance by a doctor because he passed out in weigh-ins, and then the doctor gave him a night to recover, and he reevaluated him before the fights, and he did not clear him. So that fighter in particular is going to have to be cleared by a doctor before he ever fights again. Working with your doctors and timekeepers specifically in California has been wonderful. I've been very comfortable with their level of professionalism. This is just one example of it. We are slated so far to have 17 fights next year in California alone. So we're very excited about that. Our national championships will be with the Arnolds in 25. So we're happy with our growth. We're managing our growth very well. One of the concerns that I have as the director of training for all of the officials is that we keep the level of officiating very high while expanding at a good rate. And that's why I did make Dan Stell an instructor. I'm going to make a tatami instructor in Florida very soon for the fighting on the mats. And we're just expanding hand over fist as far as officiating and the level of fighting and the number of fights that we have. And so far it's going very smooth. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the availability of your staff on the commission, because it's so important to fire off an email and get a response the same day. It's almost unheard of with athletic commissions. And we couldn't have the growth that we do have in California without the help and the professionalism of the board. And I greatly appreciate it, and I thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much.
Sir, I don't, next is Corey Schaefer with ISK. I don't know if Corey's on the call or not. Can the moderator check?
Yes, and I am promoting Corey now. So Corey, you may press *6 to unmute yourself anytime.
Are you there?
All right, was told Corey is calling in from the 352 area code.
That's his number. I recognize it.
Okay. Corey, I sent you a request to unmute. You should be able to press *6.
Chairman
well,
Villegas, yeah, his report is in the packet.
Okay. Well, let's proceed. If he comes back, we'll have him present when he's available, when he comes to the calls in or signs in. Keep going.
Yes,
Andy.
sir. And then just with the staffing update, sir, I just wanted to take a minute. I think the last time the commissioners were here in Sacramento, I introduced the office staff to the commissioners. This time I wanted to take a few minutes, a few seconds to kind of publicly acknowledge some of the people that the commission works with on a very, very regular basis, almost a daily basis, here at the Department of Consumer Affairs. Yeah, obviously, we've already talked about Ken Swenson and John Ken. They're here in the front. I want to mention Christine Lawley. She's the Deputy Director of Consumer Affairs. I don't contact her very often, but when I do, there's always a response. She's very, very helpful to the commission. Director Kim Kirkmeyer, when I need her, she's available to me. I wanted to mention that. Sir, you remember Nicole Lee. She's been very helpful to this commission about a wide variety of issues, including she's working on an issue right now with us with the travel issue that I've brought to your attention. So she's always incredibly helpful. Olivia Trejos with Human Resources, and she's always answers the phone, helps us with their request for personnel packages. Talked to her this morning, actually. Monica Vargas is helping with the license plate, and she's always helping us with our press stuff. She went down with me to the consulate in San Diego when we were working on the pension outreach. She's always very, very helpful. Sir, I wanted to mention Peter Fournier. He's like the press officer. I'm not sure exactly his title, but he does like our media when I don't know the reporter. Like when I don't know them, Peter kind of steps in and sets up interviews and does these kind of things for us. And I remember when I had the idea to do the video for the MMA, Peter was the director of that video, helped with it. and it has became the most watched video in DCA history by a whopping margin, by factors over. He put on various social media things, and it's really took off. He did a really good job with that. His boss, Matt Woodchuck, who used to be our press officer, I work closely with him. And these are some of the people we work with in consumer affairs that kind of work with various people. They're not internal at the commission, but we work with them, and I wanted to acknowledge them in my staffing update.
Thank you.
Sir, with the upcoming event schedule, it's in your binder. As you know, we have the Rocha fight on Saturday down in Ontario. I would encourage the commissioners, if they could come to UFC 311 at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. And I'm hoping that we have a nice full schedule. I'm anticipating some high-level boxing coming soon. That concludes my report, sir.
Thank you very much, Andy.
Is this the moderator?
Yep.
We may have Corey Schaefer if you are
Okay.
interested in getting his report.
Yep.
Corey, go ahead.
Oh,
Hi
hello.
there.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for your patience and with my struggling technology. Please allow me to express our appreciation for the continued privilege of serving the great state of California. As our report summary demonstrates, we're continuing with our deliberate and very intentional rollout of activities. We're excited about the opportunity to serve the athletes, the promoters, and the officials in the state of California, with a culture that's focused on providing, independent regulation of events in a manner that meets or exceeds the standards as established by CSAC for approved sanction organizations, and doing that in a way that also can contribute to successful promotions. We're focused on advancing our opportunity for California's amateur athletes, both within and outside of the state, through our sanctioned activities across America and in the international jurisdictions where we operate. It's our intention to reinforce a culture of dignity, respect, and appreciation for all of our officials, emphasizing beyond everything, continuing education and expanding their opportunities. We're excited. We are servants, and we intend to increase our footprint and make a mark in serving the sports, the people, the public, and the commission. Always available for any input. I look forward to seeing some of the commission members, hopefully at Fight Night at Tech CU West Coast Productions later in the week. Where we'll be sanctioning the amateur kickboxing and Muay Thai. And we remain available and here to serve.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming on and giving your presentation and your efforts this year too.
Thank you.
Okay, Andy.
Sir, we're done with the exception of the public comments not on the agenda in the closed session, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get there, any questions or anything for Andy from my fellow commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to raise an issue and request that it be agendized at the executive officer's discretion at a future hearing. And that is the issue that is becoming a more and more pronounced problem, particularly within MMA. And that is the loophole of fighters who are retiring and then commencing on a pretty robust regimen of performance-enhancing drugs and steroids, being very open about it and talking about it publicly, and then unretiring once they have, built their bodies to a particular point. It's been a topic of conversation amongst a lot of the analysts within MMA. It's I don't think it's anybody's unaware that Cowboy Cerrone has been making a mockery of, in my opinion, of the drug testing protocols. He's been very open about the fact that he's been, for more than a year, has been undergoing a very intense steroid regimen and he plans to unretire and come back into to fighting again. And I think that this commission should lead the nation in establishing some sort of a policy that dissuades or discourages or disincentivizes that type of activity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I concur. It's a fluid issue, so it'd be nice to get an update next time, Andy, on what we've been doing to address those concerns.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Andy, on your presentation, and congratulations on a great year as always. Next on the agenda is public comment on items that weren't on today's agenda. You're welcome to come to the front to make your comments. No more than 3 minutes.
Are there any comments from people in the room? And we are putting up a slide with information on how to raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon if you'd like to discuss something that's not on the agenda that you'd like to suggest for a future agenda. If you're a calling user, you can press *3 to raise your hand. And assuming there is no one in the room, we do have a raised hand from someone logged into WebEx as Thomas Taylor. Thomas, I'm going to send your request to unmute, and you'll have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon now that we've reached 12:10 in the afternoon. So just want to touch base real quick. I know I only got 3 minutes, and 3 minutes is never going to be enough time to talk about Jack Reese and his career and what he's done for me. But before I get on that, I want to welcome Chairman Villegas back. It's great to see you. Can't wait to see you ringside again. It's always a better night at the fights when you're sitting ringside with us. So welcome back and looking forward to seeing you again. But going back to Jack Reese and his contribution to the sport of boxing and to my career, I'm going to just touch real quick on something that Jack said about, using his candle to light others' candles doesn't diminish his. And I'm no better recipient. Nobody's better a recipient than I am when he talked about that. Jack is instrumental in getting my career and getting me to where I'm at today. I had a great original mentor in David Mendoza, and then he got me a great foundation. But Jack certainly took me to another level that I couldn't fathom I would be at 14 years into my career right now. Working with Jack and working with him with Soul Arbiter is such an honor and privilege. And even though I'm one of the instructors with him now, I still pick up new tidbits and everything. And it's just a constant, learning thing that we've always done. And we never stop trying to get better. But with Jack's leadership, his contribution to boxing and what he's done for so many others. And I know I'm not sure if there's any other referees on here right now, but I know I can speak for dozens and dozens. And I'm not just talking California, United States. We have people from Germany, Australia, Poland come to our Soul Arbiter classes, and the emails and text messages we get back from them after coming to our classes and after doing an event, thanking us for helping them. It's so rewarding. But without Jack, none of this is possible. So again,
thank you, Tom.
Sorry, I get a little choked up, but 3 minutes isn't enough to talk about this guy. And can't thank him enough for what he's done for me, my career. And I look forward to constantly reaching out to him throughout my career to lean on him and get guidance, and can't thank it enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. And I think your comments and your presentation, which is real and from the heart, is one of the things that makes this commission so good, that we have real sincere relationships with individuals throughout this commission. I'm proud to be a part of that. But thank you for your comments. Anything else from the public?
Yes, just one more from someone logged in as Adelina. I'm sending you a request to unmute. And again, you'll have 3 minutes. You're unmuted. Go ahead. Adelina?
Can you hear
We're
me?
not hearing you. There you go. Now you're on. Go ahead.
Hi there. Hey, good morning from New Zealand. Thank you for the opportunity.
My name's Adelina. I'm working with the New Zealand Mixed Martial Arts Federation. Just wanted to introduce myself and say thank you for having me along. I'm not sure how much people know about New Zealand's MMA situation, but we're currently unregulated and have for the last year been in the process of doing some very serious law reform advocacy, and part of that has been connecting with and observing commissions in North America, which are well established. And so it's been a real honor to observe the process here today and see what's possible. So I just wanted to introduce myself and say thank you for having me along.
All right, and there are no further requests for public comment. Shall I close that feature?
Yes, before you do, I want to thank you for your comments and regarding our commission and the leadership of the fellow commissioners, which is fantastic. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we'll close public comment and go into closed session.
All right, we're back in open session.
Closed session is closed. I'd like to be back in open session and ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Happy holidays to everybody. It was a great year. Thank you guys and ladies for your support while I was out, and I'm looking forward to 2025.
Great to have you back.
Thank
you very much.
Good to see everybody.
Cheers.
Merry
We'll
Christmas.
see you soon. All right, we'll talk soon.